Tough news tonight for parents and college students. The U.S. Senate today failed to move forward on a plan that would restore lower interest rates on student loans. The Democratic-sponsored bill would have held interest rates at a subsidized Stafford loan rate of 3.4% for a year. You may remember those rates doubled to 6.8% back on the 1st of July. 7 to 4's Jamie Innes spoke with U.S. Senator Debbie Stabenow today. She joins us live in the studio. Jamie, what's the next step in all of this?
Mark, Senator Stabenow says it's important to focus on making sure people have access to affordable college, but it's up to the students now to make sure their voices are heard.
I think that it's a big thing for students to get involved in the educational community.
Tad Kaiser is a student at the University of Michigan, but he's also taking advantage of cheaper classes at Northwestern Michigan College, something many students may have to consider.
Based on the emails and letters and conversations I've had with students around the state, it affects their decisions about going to college.
U.S. Senator Debbie Stabenow knows that students' costs are through the roof. She says it's time to make affordable tuition a priority.
This is in our interest as a country to make sure that students aren't coming out with mountains of debt when they get out of school.
Debt that many students don't start thinking about until 6 months after graduating.
A lot of students from our generation don't understand the gravity of what those loans are going to mean for them in the future.
Perhaps a bright spot amidst higher interest rates is that students will put more focus on their direction and overall educational plan.
When they're paying a higher interest rate, it behooves them to finish their program sooner and not borrow as much so that they're not paying more in the end.
But for some, taking out smaller loans just isn't an option.
I do not think I would take those loans out, but for many students, and actually I say to myself, I don't really have a choice.
One of the most important things to consider is how much money you really need to borrow. Palermo suggests only taking out the maximum loan if you really have to cover tuition, fees, and books. Reporting live in the studio, Jamie Innes, 7 and 4 News.
All right, thank you, Jamie. Senator Stabenow says the chairman of the committee that oversees higher education is working on legislation that could revamp a whole range of things that are intended to lower costs. That should be brought before the full Senate later this fall.